The history of ancient Elam is marked by cycles of decline and revival. Empires rose, fell, and re-emerged from the same lands that stretched across the southwestern regions of the Iranian plateau. One of the most remarkable of these revivals occurred during what historians call the Middle Elamite Kingdom, a period in which Elam not only recovered from foreign invasions but also rose to become one of the most powerful states of the ancient Near East. Babylonian records suggest that Elam and its important city of Susa were conquered during the second half of the 14th century BC by the Kassite king Kurigalzu of Babylonia. For a moment, it appeared that Elam had once again fallen under foreign domination. Yet history rarely follows a straight line. Soon after this invasion, the Elamite state was restored. Under new leadership, the kingdom reorganized its power, reasserted its independence, and eventually expanded its influence across neighboring territories. During the following centuries, Elamite kings built monumental temples, founded new cities, conducted far-reaching military campaigns, and even captured the legendary city of Babylon itself. This is the story of the Middle Elamite Kingdom, a period of political resurgence, cultural transformation, and military ambition that reshaped the balance of power in the ancient Near East. The restoration of Elamite authority appears to have occurred shortly after the Babylonian incursion led by Kurigalzu. At the center of this revival stood Pahir-Hisson, the son of Ike-Halki. Under his leadership, the Elamite kingdom not only recovered but also expanded its influence. Evidence suggests that Pahir-Hisson's family established a powerful ruling lineage that would dominate Elamite politics for generations. His nephew and successor, Humpanumana I, exercised authority over multiple regions, including Leon, located near the modern coastal city of Bandar Bushar in present-day Iran. This period also witnessed an important transformation in royal titles. Earlier Elamite rulers had used the title, Sukul Ma, a designation that had been central to Elamite political traditions. However, Pahir-Hisson and his successors abandoned this title. Instead, they adopted new designations such as King of Anshan and Susa, and King of Elam. Despite this change in royal titles, one crucial political tradition remained intact. Elamite royal succession continued to pass through both male and female lines, an unusual practice in the ancient Near East. Dynastic legitimacy was therefore tied not only to paternal descent but also to connections through the royal women of the dynasty. This distinctive system of inheritance would later play an important role in shaping Elamite political struggles and royal marriages. Another defining feature of the Middle Elamite Kingdom was the development of its written tradition. Royal inscriptions from this period were written in the Elamite language, using a local form of cuneiform script. Although inspired by the cuneiform system used in Babylonia, the Elamite version differed significantly from its old Babylonian model. Unfortunately, not all inscriptions from this period have survived. Many Elamite kings remain known only through scattered references or incomplete archaeological evidence. Nevertheless, the inscriptions that have been preserved provide valuable insight into the ambitions and achievements of the Middle Elamite rulers. These texts often commemorate building projects, religious dedications, and military campaigns, revealing a kingdom that was increasingly confident in its power and identity. Among the rulers of this period, one king stands out as particularly influential, Untush Napir Reza, also known as Untush Humpan, who ruled during the middle of the 13th century BC. He appears to have been a powerful monarch who sought to ensure that his name would be remembered for generations. To achieve this, he sponsored numerous inscriptions and religious constructions across the kingdom. Yet his most extraordinary achievement was the foundation of a completely new royal city. This city was called Dur-Untas, known today as Chaga Zanbil. Dur-Untas was not merely a political center. It was conceived as a sacred complex dedicated to the gods of Elam. At its heart stood a massive temple tower, or ziggurat, constructed in the architectural tradition of Mesopotamia. The structure was surrounded by temples, administrative buildings, and other monumental constructions. Archaeological excavations conducted by a French expedition led by Roman G. Hirschman uncovered this remarkable site in a relatively well-preserved state. The architecture of Dur-Untas clearly demonstrates how deeply Elamite culture had absorbed the artistic and religious traditions of Mesopotamia. Yet Elamite art also preserved distinctive characteristics of its own. For example, sculpture from the 2nd millennium BC maintained a strong realistic style, reflecting artistic traditions that had originated in Akkadian Mesopotamia. Interestingly, Elamite sculpture retained this realism more consistently than Babylonian art itself. One of the most famous surviving examples is the statue of Queen Napir Asu, the wife of Untouch-Napir-Reza. Although the statue has lost its head, it remains one of the most impressive works of Elamite art ever discovered. The dynasty founded by Ike-Halki continued to rule after the death of Untouch-Napir-Reza. The last known representative of this lineage may have been Kidin-Hutrin, who governed during the final decades of the 13th century BC. During his reign, Elamite power was still expanding. Kidin-Hutrin launched 2 military invasions into Babylonia. Although these campaigns did not lead to permanent control over the region, they demonstrate the growing confidence of the Elamite state. At the time, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment and share this video. Babylonia itself was under the dominance of the Assyrian king Tukulti-Ninurta I, who had placed his own nominees on the Babylonian throne. Despite this complicated political situation, Elam managed to avoid direct damage from Assyrian military campaigns. This relative stability allowed the kingdom to continue developing its power and influence. The historical record becomes clearer again during the 13th and 12th centuries BC thanks to new inscriptions and archaeological discoveries. However, it remains uncertain whether the rulers of this period belonged to the same lineage as Ike-Halki or whether a new dynasty had come to power. One of the earliest rulers of this phase was Haludis Insasinakai. His son, Sutruk-Nahunt I, would become one of the most powerful kings in Elamite history. Sutruk-Nahunt left numerous inscriptions in both Susa and Leon, documenting his activities and military campaigns. These records describe expeditions launched in multiple directions from the Elamite capital. Unfortunately, many of the place names mentioned in these inscriptions have not yet been identified by historians. Nevertheless, one campaign is well known. Around 1160 BC, Sutruk-Nahunt launched a massive invasion into Mesopotamia. His armies captured Babylon itself, along with several important cities in northern Babylonia. The conquered territories were forced to pay an enormous tribute, 120 talents of gold and 480 talents of silver. In addition to wealth, the Elamites carried off numerous monuments from Babylonian cities. Statues, stelae, and other artifacts were transported to Susa as symbols of victory. Among these spoils was one of the most famous artifacts of the ancient world, the stele containing the laws of Hammurabi. The conquest of Babylon did not end the conflict between the two powers. Sutruk-Nahunt's eldest son, Kudur-Nahunt III, was entrusted with the administration of Mesopotamia and inherited the continuing hostilities. In 1157 BC, he succeeded in capturing the final Babylonian king of Kassite origin, Elul-Nadin-Ah. Yet despite these victories, the Elamites were unable to establish lasting control over Babylonia. Neither during the lifetime of Sutruk-Nahunt nor during the short reign of Kudur-Nahunt did the conquest become permanent. Instead, a new Babylonian kingdom soon emerged in Isin, and conflicts along the frontier between Elam and Babylonia continued for decades. After the death of Kudur-Nahunt III, the Elamite throne passed to his brother Silik-Insasinakai. According to Elamite tradition, royal succession was closely connected to the female line of the dynasty. Because of this, Silik-in-Sissinach strengthened his claim to the throne by marrying his brother's widow. Even so, questions about the legitimacy of his rule appear to have persisted. In response, Silik-in-Sissinach included in his inscriptions an extensive genealogy of Elamite kings whom he considered his ancestors. This genealogy traced his lineage all the way back to the dynasty of Samaski, emphasizing his connection to earlier rulers of Elam. Despite the political tensions surrounding his accession, Silik-in-Sissinach proved to be one of the greatest warriors in Elamite history. During the reign of Silik-in-Sissinach I, roughly between 1150 and 1120 BC, Elam reached one of the high points of its military power. His campaigns extended across a vast territory. Elamite armies controlled regions stretching from northern Babylonia and the Assyrian frontier to the mountainous landscapes of western Iran, toward the region of modern Kermanshah and beyond. These conquests reveal the extraordinary reach of Elamite influence during this period. However, the inscriptions describing these campaigns do not suggest that the Elamites invaded territories already inhabited by Iranian-speaking peoples. This detail provides an important clue about the ethnic and political landscape of the Iranian plateau during this era. The final ruler discussed in this period is Hutalitus-in-Sissinach, who ruled around 1120 to 1110 BC. He presented himself as the son of both Qutar-Nahant and Silik-in-Sissinach, likely reflecting the complex dynastic relationships of the royal family. During his reign, an important change occurred. He abandoned the title, King of Anshan. This may indicate that the eastern province of Anshan had already been lost, possibly to new groups entering the region. Hutalitus-in-Sissinach eventually suffered a major defeat at the hands of the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar I, around 1110 BC. This defeat marked a turning point. After this event, the historical record of Elam once again grows obscure. It appears that Hutalitus-in-Sissinach left no descendants, and he was not succeeded by a brother. With his death, the powerful line of rulers that had dominated the Middle Elamite kingdom came to an end. The Middle Elamite Kingdom represents one of the most dynamic chapters in the history of ancient Iran. Emerging from the shadow of foreign conquest, Elam rebuilt its political institutions, strengthened its cultural identity, and expanded its military power across the ancient Near East. Its kings founded monumental cities, constructed impressive temples, and left behind inscriptions that reveal their ambitions and achievements. At its height, Elam was powerful enough to conquer Babylon itself and carry away its greatest monuments. Yet, like many ancient empires, its dominance was temporary. Internal succession struggles, shifting alliances, and renewed Babylonian resistance eventually weakened the kingdom. By the early 12th century BC, the once powerful Middle Elamite state had begun to fade from the historical record. Nevertheless, its legacy endured. The cities, monuments, and artifacts of this period, especially the sacred complex of Dur-Untas and the treasures carried to Susa, remain powerful reminders of a civilization that once stood among the great powers of the ancient world.